Today we get quite a different first reading from what we had yesterday, but there are some similarities. Yesterday we had the story about the fiery serpent, which they made a bronze serpent which people would look at. And when they looked at it, knowing that God would help them, they would be saved. Here we have a different situation whereby a pagan king, King Nebuchadnezzar, is requiring Jewish people to worship images that are not of God. To worship a statue of something he's erected, a golden statue. And we have these three figures, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, who have the confidence to say, no, we don't worship a statue. We don't worship false gods. But we know who we worship. We know what our faith is about, and we're willing even to the point of dying. And we have this incredible story where they're thrown into a fiery furnace, and then they're joined by an angel. Perhaps we're told one of the sons of God. And they're there walking around in the fire, talking together. Fire has this incredible way of destroying things, but also of renewing things as well. And within the scriptures, there are times where fire is used for pain, for punishment, but fire is also used for renewal. And here we have these three figures who know what their faith is about. They know where they've come from, and they're absolutely committed to not the worship of themselves or the worship of the things of this world, but the worship of God. Sometimes I hear Protestants, and you might have heard this yourselves, that they have this idea that we worship statues. We don't worship statues. We have statues in our churches, we have images in our churches, although they're all covered at the moment. And they're there not for us to worship them, although sometimes people think, when they view us, they think, oh, people are kneeling down at a statue. The statue is to guide us in prayer. We aren't worshipping the statue, we aren't worshipping the image. We are worshipping God, and the statue is there as a reminder to us of the presence of God or the inspiration of different saints. This gospel today, we have this incredible dialogue that Jesus has with a number of the Jewish leaders. And they're convinced that they are the children of Abraham, but they aren't willing to accept Jesus. And Jesus keeps revealing himself more and more as who he actually is. He's not just an ordinary guy. He is the Son of God. He's been sent by God amongst us. The journey at Christmas helps us to understand that God is amongst us. The journey at Easter understands that Jesus Christ is truly God, and that Jesus then is the one we come to worship. Because Jesus offers the sacrifice on behalf of humanity, not for himself, but for God. We have this dialogue back and forth. These Jewish people are saying, oh, we're the children, we're descended from Abraham, we're the children of Abraham. But they weren't willing to accept what Abraham accepted. Like the three figures in this first reading, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, they knew where they came from and they knew what they worshipped. Unfortunately, these people in the gospel, they thought they knew where they came from, but they weren't quite sure what they were meant to be doing. And their own personal failings, their own personal sins got in the way of them entering into the right worship of God. So as we now enter into our Eucharistic prayer, let us be like Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, to humbly, to faithfully, to reverently enter into the worship of God. The worship of God which connects us to Jesus Christ, and to Jesus Christ, to our Heavenly Father. Glory and eternal praise forever.